Behind me are the caves of Qumran, and this is where the most important archaeological finding to mankind has been found accidentally by Bedouins in the year 1947. 1947, a sheep herder called Muhammad Adib walks his flock here in the area of Qumran. All of a sudden, one of the goats runs into a cave. Muhammad takes a stone, throws it into the cave, and what does he hear? A pot crack. Curious to see what it is, he enters the cave accidentally. What Muhammad finds, copies of all the books of the Old Testament, as well as sectarial writings of a mysterious Jewish sect from Second Temple period known as the Essene. The Essene broke away from mainstream Judaism at the Hasmonean period somewhere around 2nd century BC. Some 400 of them lived here in Qumran as monks. So we are looking at the oldest monastery in the world. One of the testimonies about the Essene we have from a very famous Roman historian known as Plinius the Elder. But perhaps the best testimony about the Essene comes from a very famous Jewish historian who wrote around the year 76 AD in Rome. His name is Yosef, son of Matityahu, or Josephus Flavius. Josephus Flavius tells us in detail about who the Essene are. The Essene broke away from mainstream Judaism somewhere around 2nd century BC. Most of them come and live here in Qumran as a secretive Jewish sect. The Essene have their own theology and their own sectarial writings. According to the Essene, who call themselves the Yachad, the together, there is predestination. It's either your son of light or your son of darkness. Only in a 2-year probation period here in Qumran could you learn whether you belong to the sons of light, to the Yachad. 70% of Qumran, of the site, is all about mikveh. Mikveh is a Jewish ritual bath, because in their sectarial writings, the rule of the Yachad, we are told by the Essene of very strict ritual baths. They would bathe in the morning before having their breakfast, and then they would put on white robes, have their meal together. After the meal, they would tend to their chores. The same would be repeated in the evening, but before eating together in total silence, the Essene would once again do a ritual bath. I am now standing in what was the scribe's room, and it is here that Essene writers copied Torah books for all the Essene community to study. How do we know this was the scribe's room? Because what was found here was a table used by the scribes and inkwell, one of the 2 most ancient inkwells ever found in the world. This is where the Essene would congregate at night and study their own writings as well as the Old Testament well into the night, as testified by Josephus Flavius. After studying the writings, the Torah book or the scrolls would be kept here in the wall. The next day, it will be taken back to the place of the archive, which would be in the adjacent caves surrounding Qumran. Here to the right is a kitchen used by the Essene to cook the food. And here they would congregate. This is the refectorium. This is where they would sit, dressed in a white robe and in total silence, have their meals. To the left, a ritual bath, because before having the meal, they would have to wash themselves, right here. Sensing the scrolls may have value, Muhammad takes the scrolls to Bethlehem, where he meets a man called Eskander Kando, a shoemaker. What Muhammad doesn't know is that Eskander also happens to be the biggest antique dealer in Bethlehem. And then the Dead Sea Scrolls begin to float in the antique market of Jerusalem. Who hears about this? A very dominant, prominent Israeli archaeologist known as Eliezer Lupa Sukenik. Sukenik realizes that what he's holding is the oldest piece of scrolls ever found. This is the story of the finding of the Dead Sea Scrolls.